Hi, I'm Vanessa O'Hara. I make content about holistic self-love and I'm doing Vlogmas. Today is day 7 and I am so thrilled that you are here joining me on Vlogmas. And if you're watching this video within the first 24 hours of me posting it, I apologize for the ghostly look of it. I don't know what's happening, but I don't know why, but the first day I publish a video, it tends to be kind of whited out, and then after 24 hours, it gets to the normal quality as it should be. So there seems to be some glitch on YouTube, technically speaking. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about my hair. You've been leaving me some lovely comments about my hair, and I wanted to share with you why I stopped going to the hairdresser. I think it was 2022 or 2023 that I stopped going to the hairdresser. And the reason was that I was so sick of the hairdresser not doing what I asked for. And that's something that I don't quite understand with hairdressers is why do they do what they think you need and not what you asked for? Can you relate to this? I think it's an international thing. I think it happens all over the world, because when you find a hairdresser that you trust, you don't want to let that person go. Someone who understands your instructions. It's not just about linguistics and how we explain things, but someone who understands the nuance of what you're trying to achieve. Sometimes we can have, we can make requests that might not suit us, and we would expect the expert to give us some expert feedback. But at the end of the day, I think it's really annoying when you ask for something and they do something different. This has happened to me so many times. And the hairdressers that I've worked with, well, the common problem was I mentioned that I'm trying to grow my hair, so I want to cut the minimum amount. And I say, in Spain, they say one finger, two fingers, like un dedo, dos dedos. So maximum like dos dedos, which is just, every few months just to get those trim the split ends, etc. And they're like, yeah, and then look at it like, oh my god, cut up this much. Anyway, they say they're just going to do that. They say they understand, like, yeah, and then they end up going. So you go in with hair like this, and you come out with hair up to your shoulders, and it's so annoying. And then you've got to grow your hair for months and months again. And even when you ask them not to cut too much, they will start kind of dissing your hair and insulting it, saying, well, look at the state of it, it needs more. So anyway, I stopped going to the hairdresser because I finally met someone who was a former hairdresser who really understood what I wanted. They understood my goal of growing my hair, and instead of cutting it the normal way, which would be, let's say, washing the hair and trimming it when it's wet, they said, let's blow dry it straight, and then when it's dry, then you kind of see the length, and then cut the absolute minimum off the ends. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years actually, with a friend. And thanks to my friend and her understanding of my request, my hair started to grow and grow and grow. Unfortunately, this friend became very busy and no longer available to cut my hair, so I found someone else instead. And here in Barcelona, there's a really great initiative called Homeless Entrepreneur. And I don't really know too much about it to actually tell you about it. But if you look for Homeless Entrepreneur, you'll find information. And it's basically a program to try and help homeless people, to get back into work and get their lives back on track. Anyway, I met a guy who was part of this Homeless Entrepreneur organization, and he was a qualified hairdresser and also in a situation of trying to get his life back on track. So I said, hey, you're my guy, cut my hair. And I knew that he was going to be able to do what I asked for in a way that wasn't going to be ego driven, because a lot of hairdressers, they kind of think they know better than you. Well, they think they know your hair better than you. But this guy really listened to what I was asking for. And before he even cut the first snip, he checked in with me, and now he has a new client, and I'm so thrilled to actually get the haircut that I want, and to also help someone get their life back on track. I mean, he did it so well that I don't know when the next haircut will be, but yeah, I'm just so happy, because it's all about listening to your clients, and it just, it kind of raises deeper questions about, the client, how you respond to what someone asks of you. Do you do what you think they should ask you for, or what they actually asked you for? And that's the problem with hairdressers in general, is that they tend to not do what you ask. That's my experience, and I'm wondering if anyone else can relate to that. Also about my hair, you've been leaving me really lovely comments. I wanted to mention that I don't use any hair styling products. I'm a kind of washing every 4 days. I do something called Low-poo, which means that I don't use normal shampoo, and I use a kind of leave-in, very organic conditioner as well. So I'm really a minimalist when it comes to hair care. I spend hardly any money on my hair at all. And it's really interesting because, years ago I used to do highlights. I used to sit in the hairdressers for 3-4 hours to get blonde highlights. I used to get it straight, and I used to straighten it every day. Then I used to use straightening irons as well as blow drying, and it was really kind of like not accepting what God gave me naturally, this wavy hair. And whereas now, I think sometimes the less beauty or cosmetics you use, the less you feel that you need them. And it just feels kind of cool and nice to embrace my natural hair and spend less money. And I think the health of my hair is just so much better as well. And this is coming from someone who I actually had hair loss in 2021. I've made videos about that here. I had something called telogen effluvium, and this was 3 months after my hospital stay. I had COVID pneumonia, and it was 3 months after my hair started to just shed. It was really embarrassing. I lost a lot of the thickness, and sometimes just clumps would fall out randomly, and I was so afraid of brushing my hair, washing my hair. And that's when I started to really research hair growth and healthy hair growth in general. And that's when I started to use things like rosemary oil in the scalp. I stopped using normal shampoo, and of course I went to a dermatologist as well. I'm going to make a playlist about my hair, so if you want to check any of those videos out. And you will see the worst time when I had telogen effluvium, and then my hair started to grow amazingly well. It was incredible, and now it's just got to another level. So yeah, maybe I will make some more videos about my hair care. Yay! So anyway, thank you for everyone who has been leaving me really nice comments about my hair. That's today's video, and if you have any requests for more content, please let me know. I've got some exciting things to reveal this week coming, and I can't wait. But that's my Sunday evening video. Anyway, I've got a really interesting day tomorrow. I'm going to be interviewing a guy about emotional vampires. Oh my God, such a juicy topic. Anyway, I'm going to relax, get this uploaded, and hopefully it won't be too crazy on the filters and the ghost-like finish that's been happening. I'm not really sure why that's happening. But anyway, if you see me all kind of really white, then you know that it's just a technical glitch. Yes, anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to check out my podcast, check out the link in the description below. Also, there's a link to my meditations on Insight Timer, my book, Orgasmic Manifestation, and of course, if you want to work with me, there's also a link as well. Mwah! Thanks for watching, and thanks for being here.